Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious back in the bunker. Oh, what a rush. You know what we're doing here. Purple State Party, man. This is about America, the center, common sense. Woo, that was a good one, wasn't it? Super in charge right now, man. You know, we've had our first victory. Hence the title, Lexington and Concord. You know, the British tried to come across and take our guns, and we fought them off, man. And, you know, that was our first victory. It was a major battle. It's kind of a skirmish, as they would say. Ooh, more streamers everywhere. But we have had a small victory, you know? Common sense in the center won one, man. That's awesome. And what are we talking about here? You know, we're talking about the end of the disinformation board. The Ministry of Truth has died, folks. It has died. Now, first I want to start by addressing something. Going after this woman in a violent, vicious way like some people did, that's not right. We don't need to do that, man. We have the truth on our side. We should stick to the truth. We should stick to our moral fiber that we have. You know, we should stick to that. We shouldn't resort to being animals and threatening her with physical and mental violence. That ain't cool, man. We had the facts. We knew how it looked. We knew the optics on it, you know. You know, Washington Post summed it up pretty good that they let right-wing attacks derail its disinformation efforts. Yeah, it was, the administration struggled to respond. This was by Tyler Lorenz, by the way, who outed libs of TikTok, so F this bitch. But Babylon B weighed in on it. Disinformation board narrowly outlasts CNN Plus. There you go. Biden plugging up domestic oil. Biden's Ministry of Truth shutting off domestic free speech. That's the kind of thing that took him down. Because it was a Ministry of Truth. And you put somebody in charge who praised the Steele dossier, told people not to buy masks. I mean, you know, we're all guilty of getting it wrong. But if we want to engage in this war of misinformation and disinformation, then don't put a czar who has shared so many misleading tweets in the past. It's quite simple. It's really easy. But it's gone. It's on pause. And I think we know what pause means. Because, see, when you put things in quotes, you know, that means something else. So pause means cancel. Just like I'd like to pause her. You see what I'm saying? See, you just change it with the little quotes. There you go. Makes it dirty. So dirty. But, you know, speaking of other dirty bastards that we don't really need it around, Fauci comes out and he says society is in decline because of the spread of disinformation. And propaganda. Yeah, okay, you mean like inflating COVID stats? Wow. You know, he urged the audience to reject the politicization of science. Oh, my God. I mean, really? I mean, we live in a world where men can have periods now, and he's telling us not to politicize science. See, science is neither right or left. It's neither liberal or conservative. Science is just science. It's just facts. Okay? And, you know, he lied about the origins. All right? They covered up the potential lab experiments that he himself was involved with the gain of function research. We know these things. Fauci lied. Fauci gave bad advice. Fauci led the hysteria that still to this day goes on. Just yesterday, somebody wanted to do my temperature and made me wear a mask. It's just insanity. For him to be speaking on it is just insane. And again, Nina Jackowitz, the czar of the Ministry of Truth, and Dr. Fauci here, both people saying, oh, misinformation is bad, while using it themselves. Kind of confusing. Yeah. Here's another kind of a small victory, I guess, you know, for people like myself who live in the nation of purple. You know, if you're in the nation of purple, much love to you, man. I really appreciate it, you know. I'd love to hear from you. Put it down below right there. Like, subscribe, turn on them notifications, all that, man. Because, man, we're just, I'm emboldened by these small victories. But here's a small victory. Right here, they were doing a CNN poll, okay? 1,000 people from CNN. 2/3 of independents say they don't have faith in either party to handle the country's biggest issues. Yeah, because both of them are all about appeasing the extremists in their group. Their so-called base. There you go. I'd like to base her. See? See, again, it's just insanity. The partisans are 8 to 10. Trust their own party. 2/3 of independents. People are starting to wake up that Republicans and Democrats are politicians. It's a for-profit business. These people are trying to get rich. They're trying to get reelected, and they're going to say and do whatever it is that makes their party go, hurrah! The common sense, the actual practical matters that need to be dealt with in the center are just pushed off to the side because they don't appease the right crowd. See? It's about appeasing the right crowd, not about doing the right thing. But people are waking up. I mean, when I read stuff like this, man, I don't make money doing this. This is episode 116. Over 2 years, every single week, coming up and doing this stupidity that I do, man. And, I'm not getting the followers. I'm not getting the ducats. No, but I'm getting the satisfaction that things like the Ministry of Truth gets taken down. And that 2/3 of independents. Man, that's a lot of people, man. What, 66%, I believe that would be? Something like that? Don't trust either party. Man, just even that CNN had to put that out, man. That's like when the Americans took Fort Ticonderoga. Benedict Arnold before he was a traitor. See, moderate Democrats are what? Worried that far-left primary challengers are purging centralists. They have formed a new Democrat coalition. Almost half of the House Democrats issued a plea to what? Grow the party from the what? Center. Yeah. People are waking up, man. It's boom. But it's through the truth, man. It's from taking people's actual actions and holding them up and saying, look, this is why you can't trust these people. This is why this is why that. But not by being a vicious mob. We didn't end the Ministry of Truth. We didn't wake people up to the power of the purple by burning down buildings, by storming the Capitol. No, man. It was just boom, boom, boom. Chipping away day after day after day. They say Rome wasn't built in a day. Neither were the Sphinx. Neither were the great pyramids in South America. The Grand Canyon. That wasn't carved by nature in a day, man. It was chipping away, man. And that's what we need to be. We need to remember we are the sons and daughters of the American Revolution. Whether you were born here or you immigrated here, if you are an American, the blood of the patriot flows through you. And we won through perseverance, through courage, resilience, tactical know-how, and retreating. And sometimes that's what we have to do. We have to pull back on certain issues and say, whoa, look, we're not, that's not really what our intent was. Let's move over here and let's deal with something like a drought in California. Instead of worrying about what's in a math book in Florida. Maybe we should worry about other things at times. And, that's how the war was won. Draw, victory, a couple losses here and there, but maintaining the army. Whew. One of the shows I listen to and I highly recommend to everybody is the Armstrong and Getty Show. It's on in the morning, 6 to 9 here in LA on 790. They taught me what it was like to be purple. I don't know if that was their goal, but they approach things with some humor, some exuberance, but some common sense and core beliefs that the middle has more of the answers. They don't worry about sensationalism. It's not like InfoWars or, MSNBC where it's just all hype and hyperbole. Don't believe the hype. Public Enemy said it, and 21 Pilots said it. So, yeah, two great, iconic bands. They both knew. Don't trust the hype, man. The truth is boring. It is. One other one that I hope I get victory on soon is the whole idea of Buy Americas. Not just Americas, South, Central, North. I was listening to Armstrong and Getty show, and they had the governor, I think, or they were quoting an article from the governor, I believe, of Alberta. Premier? I don't know what they call him up there. I'm sorry. I'll have to look what that's about. Yeah. Sorry. But Alberta, Canada has billions of gallons of oil that is produced as cleanly as possible. Yet Biden begs OPEC, Argentina, and other evil regimes for oil. Buy Americas. We don't want to use ours. We don't want to drill here. We want to push carbon emissions to a different country so we can look green. Great. But it's right there in Canada. I mean, all we have to do is pipe it down. All we have to do is get it down here. But it is still much easier to truck it down from Canada, right, than to ship it over from these other assholes. Okay? So instead of giving money to evil regimes that have horrible human rights issues, maybe we should go to Canada. Most of y'all love Canada. You say if Trump wins the presidency, you're going to move to Canada. So I'm assuming a lot of people on the left love Canada. Let's buy their oil. Okay. Right now, we're seeing these little victories, man. I keep talking about these little ones, these little chips and these little chips. Right now, only 2 out of 10 adults say the U.S. is headed in the right direction, down from 3 in 10 a month earlier. So in 30 days, man, they lost another person. Chipping away. And I want to bring this up because my brother always argues about this stuff, about how, Biden's got this low approval rating, but Trump's was lower. I'll tell you something, okay? This is not just a defense of Trump. This is just a look at something in reality. Poll numbers are often wrong in the fact that, like I talk about, you have this 30% that always goes along with their party. Like right here, 33% of Democrats think that the country is headed in the right direction, down from 49. We're now down to those 30. Think about those 2 out of 10 adults that think the U.S. is headed in the right direction. Who are they? They're probably Democrats, and they're probably doing quite well, and they probably don't give a shit about the average person around them. So either that or they're just flat out liars. So when you ask, hey, how did Trump do? It didn't really matter how Trump did. What the poll was really asking was, do you like Trump? See, that's the difference. Trump maintained 80 and 90% favorability among Republicans. He did. Biden's ranking right now is at 73 with his own party. These are little victories, folks. This is people waking up to the simple truth of life. So now I hit Biden, so now I'm going to go back to the other side. I'm going to hit somebody on the right, somebody who I really like and admire. I called in the future Mr. Weber here. But there is no such thing as a pro-choice Christian. That's an oxymoron. Emphasis on moron. Well, if you watched my show a couple weeks ago, you'll know there's nothing in the Bible that outlaws abortion. The Bible seemingly supports the fact that the baby is nothing more than an appendage of a woman until it, comes out and breathes on its own. Okay? So we're not going to use the Bible for that, man. I'm a Christian in the fact that I follow Christ. Okay? I follow Christ. I have a very strange way of looking at it, but I do. Okay? I believe that Mary Magdalene picked up the torch after his resurrection and his ascension into heaven. And I try to follow the words of Jesus. But I'm also pro-choice. And you're calling me a moron. Now, you did use oxymoron, which I do like, because oxymorons with two R's, is an up-and-coming band that I think a lot of people will really like. Really hard-edge, hip-hop flavor, man. I've seen them in concert. I got to meet them. Awesome guys. So, thanks, Earl, for at least giving me a chance to promote oxymorons. 2 R's. So, Newsom's here in California talking about his surplus. And of course he got a surplus. I mean, they were giving COVID money and they spent COVID money on things that they would normally spend tax money on. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay. But we're talking about some common sense stuff here. So the Republicans in California, probably the most weakest organization, maybe in the face of this planet, California Republicans. But, they're proposing some permanent tax cuts. Sounds good. And some investments in large water storage projects. That's pretty interesting. You see, that's the kind of common sense, middle of the road, purple shit that I'm talking about. We are suffering a drought here in California. We do not need to be worrying about switching over to electric vehicles. Okay? We need to worry about conserving water. Somebody once said, droughts are natural and man can do nothing about them. Water conservation is entirely in man's hands. We are not retaining the water that we need. That's one thing. The other thing they would like him to spend some money on is health benefits for child care workers. Yeah. Eliminating some court fees. Okay, I can kind of see that. I think people, low-income people, should not be overly burdened by court fees. I think it stands in the way of them getting justice, seeking justice, and all that. And more funding for schools. Because when I started this show, one of the things I railed against was this bond measure to raise all this money for rich people, but bonds were going to supposedly help out the school, and it was something like $30 billion. So we have $98 billion in surplus. Let's fix our schools. But one thing here that I wanted to point out was food benefits for all eligible Californians regardless of immigration status. Don't wait down. Wait, kid. Whoa, pump the brakes, Mr. Copious. You voted for Trump, so how could you possibly be for this? You know why I'm for this? Because they're already here. Okay? It's quite simple. I would like to end all illegal immigration from every country going into our country. The northern border, the eastern border, the western border, the southern border. All of them. Okay? I want to eliminate illegal immigration. All right? But they're here. Okay? And I do believe that they deserve basic human rights. Okay? It's a tricky subject because, hey, they're technically criminals. But we feed our criminals food in jail. And as I reported a couple weeks ago, nearly half of the undocumented citizens, it's a quote time today, they deserve food. I don't know about medical benefits. I don't know about housing. I don't know about cell phones. I certainly don't think they deserve money. I don't think they deserve incentives to come here, but food and water are necessities. And I don't think they should be starving. They're coming here, I would say most of the bad, if you were to take good illegal immigrants and bad illegal immigrants, the bad ones, I think, are the people who come here to deal drugs and, other things like that. Or they come here just illegally, but they have money some way, some fashion, right? The ones who come here out of pure necessity, to look for work, are some of the hardest working motherfuckers out there. And that's who I want to try to figure out how we can help them become citizens. But I also think that they definitely deserve food. All right? That was long-winded, but, So an LA judge has ruled that California's, as you can see, landmark law requiring women on corporate boards is unconstitutional. So KTLA, not exactly landmark, not exactly law. Bad idea. It's a bad idea, and I'll tell you why I think it's a bad idea. Because when you put these kind of things in place, it then means that every woman who succeeds, somebody could turn around and say it's only because of that law. She's only here because it's the law, not because she earned it. And I think that's kind of crap. I really do. I wholeheartedly believe that is just a shit way of going about things. Okay? Women can earn their own way. They're capable to do that. To say that they're not capable of doing that on their own is ridiculous. Now, if you find a board that is passing a viable candidate simply because she's a woman, well, then I got a shit hammer for you, and I'm going to drop it on your head. Hey, most Americans are concerned about the U.S. and burned out on politics. That is what I'm trying to do here, is I'm trying to get some of these political messages across without boring the shit out of you. Trying to bring you something that we can laugh about. I mean, headlines like this from the LA Times: given a chance to avoid jail and criminal charges, mentally ill, addicted, and homeless people in LA pass. Yeah, no shit. Okay? Man, I've been there, man. I've been a drunk. I've been an addict. I know exactly where the mindset is, man. I know what the voices in the head say. Voices in the head say you don't need a comfy bed, you just need heroin. Okay? Heroin is not my drug of choice, but it's what's going on now, fentanyl. They don't care. They don't care if they die tomorrow. They just want their drugs. And if you're mentally ill, you're not in a position to take care of yourself. Now, that's just facts. We need to expand the role of conservatorship. Dr. Drew taught me that a long time ago. You know, we need to be able to say, hey, for the good of this person, we need to take control of their life. Okay. All right, so that was kind of anti-left. So now we should go anti-right, because we're doing machine on both sides, man. Yeah, that's who we are, man. We're like a third country in the middle of a world war where we just go around mowing everybody down. We don't give a shit. We'll just bop, 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 over here, and then bop, 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 over there. And then at the end, we get the whole fucking pie to ourselves. Because that's what the Purple Army is going to have to do, man. We're going to have to mud stomp both sides, man. Yeah, can I get a hell yeah? But anyhow, Trump here endorses this girl. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say it that way. This girl, Jackie Eubank, she's a Gen Z zealot. Yeah. And she wants to use the state power to crush the left and impose God's moral order. And she wants to outlaw contraception. God's morality is for everyone. No, folks. I don't think so. Okay? God's testing us. He wants to know who we are. He wants to know if in the battle between good and evil, what side are we on, and what kind of fighter we are. All right? Yeah, I know. There's a lot of war analogies here on this show. And that's just me. I'm a fan of history, and history is often a lot about war. That's just the way it is. But I believe, personally, that one of the reasons why I'm pro-choice and contraceptions and I don't want Sharia law here is because God wants to know what choices we make. And I think that cuts across contraception, abortion, things like that. They want to know. Leaving drug addicts on the streets is not morally right, man. We're supposed to love them. And sometimes love comes in a very tough form. But people like that, it really disappoints me. I really thought Trump was more a middle of the road guy. I thought maybe, I really thought he would help usher in an era of purple. But I guess he didn't. So yeah, BLM here, paid nearly $1 million for this. And look, I just want to make it clear. I'm disgusted by charities or foundations that prey on things like race or religious beliefs to extort money out of people, to take donations and enrich their lives, but never actually do the work. Where is all this? Where is the money gone that's good? All they do is run their mouths, but they don't do anything. And if they have done anything, we're not seeing it. We're hearing of local chapters of BLM saying, hey, where's our money? That's what we're hearing. We're seeing this. I'm not saying they're the only ones who do this. You go back and look at some of my other stuff on BLM. I compare them to, white Christian groups that rip people off. But they're using race to make the money. They're paying her. She paid her brother $800,000 for security. Yeah. Look at the rates a security guard usually gets. $21,000 to $50,000. I'm pretty sure the head of the Secret Service, the head of CIA, they're not making that kind of money. So, she paid a fellow director $2.1 million, chartered reimbursed the organization $73,000 for a chartered flight, spent I mean, according to this, $37 million was spent on chartered flights, which she reimbursed 75,000, 73,000. God, hate numbers. But out of concern about catching COVID and the health risks that followed. So she's just an elitist. Collier's is just an elitist spending people's money that she got by shilling that Black Lives Matter, but never doing anything about it. Where's the grant? Where's the colleges? Where's the programs? Where's the community centers? You had all that money to make a difference in the black community, and you enriched your own lives. And maybe did a few things here and there, but nothing that made a big splash, because if it made a big splash, we would hear about it. It's just, she intended to pay a rental fee to BLM after she used the the BLM house for a private birthday. Really? I mean, she issues a statement denying suggestions that she had lived on the property or taken advantage of it for personal gains. Then she says, yeah, I threw a private birthday party there, but I plan on paying a rental fee. Back to her own organization? I know a lot of these charities are this way. Scandalous, man. But rewind. Pause for a second, kid. Get yourself on track. So, some of you may have heard of the K-Rock show, Kevin and Bean. It's off the air. R.I.P. Kevin, R.I.P. Bean. But Kevin Ryder of Kevin and Kevin Bean show, and the other one and the lady. No. Inside joke on that. He ran a charity called Friends and Helpers. Or still does. And it provides support for women who are abused and battered and escape in the middle of the night with nothing. And he provides backpacks and school supplies and things like that for the children. And he does it by spending 100% of the money that they get on those women and their children. That's the example that I have known for, almost 2 decades. I mean, way back, I'd say like 2006 or something. I think when I first heard about it, I don't remember. I'm not so good in that department. But when you see an organization like BLM, and you see the founders giving out all this money to people, and you think, man, all of those could have been scholarships. All of those could have been full rides to deserving young black boys or girls who earned the right to be, awarded something like that, right, man? They help out in the community, whatever, and BLM pays for their entire college. No college debt. No worrying about how you're going to afford books. No worrying about how you're going to afford housing and food and water and all that stuff, man. BLM could just pay for that. And then one day, we could have some massive scientific achievement come out from some young black girl from the inner city. And she could credit BLM for putting her through school, for allowing her to pursue that degree in biology that led to this massive medical breakthrough. But instead, no, they buy mansions and charter flights and live the life. Ah, boy. All right, this is an idiotic story here. It kind of segues out of BLM, but this noose rat, whatever, was Biden's pick for New York City federal trial court. She claimed in 2015 that police shoot unarmed black people every day. She then defended her statement in April, but in May, she denied she ever made the statement. Well, first of all, the real numbers are, there's fatal police shootings of unarmed blacks, about 22 per year. Not exactly one a day, not even one a week. But also, she lies. She defends it and then claims she never made it. And these are the people that Biden is appointing. It's ridiculous. He's not trying. The reason he's not trying is because he views himself as a dictator. We saw it with all those miserable executive orders that he put into place. We've seen it time and time again where he picks some of the worst people for the job. And we're just supposed to accept it because his speaker is going to lie for him and the media will help cover it up. He sat there during the debates and said, my family has never made money off China. Points to Trump and says, well, that family did. Well, guess what? We're now finding out that the Chinese paid Hunter Biden's company $11 million. So, yeah, he made money off China. Huh. Yeah. They had something to do with his house, too. They gave him some sort of like no interest loan, some Chinese bank, so he could build his dream house up there in Delaware, isolated from the rest of us. Now he's going along and he's going to prop up Cuba's dictatorship, even though he never, ever went to South Florida and talked to the Cuban exile community or its congressional delegation. He just went ahead and said, we're going to normalize relations just like Obama did. Even though under Obama, it did not work. It was a historic move that we supported with cautious optimism. However, that free and democratic Cuba we all hoped for never got any traction. So we already knew it failed. Already failed. Cuban exiles rejected Obama's olive branch to the Castro family. They warned it would be a one-way street, and it was. And so what? Biden does it again because my puppet master told me to do it. The teleprompter said, it's just, the Biden administration's repeated appeasement to the Cuban dictatorship is a betrayal of America's commitment to the human rights and freedom and to the long-suffering Cuban people who are struggling for a genuine democratic transition. I don't know which lawmaker that was. I'm sorry. It's just ridiculous. Ages ago, I once said, if an illegal immigrant helps the police in some way, they should be given a green card. That was something that, I would change in the world. Well, apparently, as you can see, this is talking about the subway shooting that we had like a month ago, the one that popped smoke and then started shooting people. Black guy. I guess he was a black nationalist too, but that barely got any traction. Unlike the Buffalo guy being a white nationalist. Yeah, but we already know how that works. But see right here. I guess the helpers and their lawyers are in the early stages of applying for visas set aside for victims, witnesses, and informants who help law enforcement. So, once again, I have a good idea. Didn't realize that it was already taken. The story of my life. Whoa. I meant to do Smashing Pumpkins, and I think I just did One Direction. Whew, I got problems, folks. One of the problems is my brother. He called me up, and he was talking about how Sweden and Finland were rubbing Donald Trump's face in shit because they're going to join NATO, and how dare you say NATO? Like I told him, Turkey blocked it, and they're blocking it right now. It's an asinine organization that, is mostly on our backs. So if these people don't want to play around, kick them the fuck out. Let's just kick Turkey out. Or, I don't know. Who do we want? Let me know down below. Do we want Sweden and Finland or Turkey? Let's take a vote on that. Artigen. Sounds like an energy company, doesn't it? But yeah, he's got some concessions, something about some terrorists that have gotten asylum in Sweden, and I don't know what his bone is with Finland. Finland's apparently already getting its gas shut off from Russia, but Finland is right on the border of Russia, way up there in the top. You look at the globe in Finland, and then there's Russia. They once fought a battle in World War II, and Hitler was going to go in on the side of Finland, and we were also thinking about joining Finland against Russia, but that didn't last very long, and pretty soon we were friends with Russia, fighting Hitler. That didn't work out too well. So here's something. Again, this is just something I wrote. I don't know if it's already been said. I'm guessing it already has, but independents don't vote along party lines. They vote for what's right and what makes sense and what's good for America or good for the citizens of their state or city or county or whatever. Just simply voting so that you can be part of the group. Well, that's why one of my heroes, I use the term hero sort of lightly because, most of my heroes are dead. People like Washington, George, that is. Anyhow, Bezos, who I'm not a fan of. I was one of those people who said Amazon's going to kill brick and mortar. And I worked at a lot of brick and mortar and watched a lot of them disappear over the years. But anyhow, he criticized the Biden administration for taking credit for deficit reduction. Anyhow, he went on. And where's that part? Right there. In fact, the administration tried hard to inject even more stimulus into an already overheated inflationary economy, and only Manchin saved them from themselves. Because he had the balls to step away from his party and say no. He did the same thing with the abortion bill. That was designed just to make Republicans vote against it. They were going to force Catholic churches to perform abortions. They weren't just going to codify Roe versus Wade. But I love how, Bernie Sanders wearing his mittens. He said that Manchin and Sinema sabotaged Biden's agenda. You can tell Business Insider must be a little bit left-wing, because that picture of Kristen Sinema over there, it looks like the cover of one of those creepy stalker ex-girlfriends who lives in her ex-boyfriend's attic secretly and murders all the roommates or something. It looks like the video cover of that. It really does. I wish I could remember the name. It was a creepy one though. I don't remember it now. But I remember both the leads were girls, and it was an ex-roommate, and she was bumping off roommates. I don't remember. But yeah, they've sabotaged Biden's agenda. Yep. Because Biden is trying to spend money on shit that we don't need right now, instead of taking care of problems that take real effort. Because I don't think that party is really about effort. I don't think they are. I see them running their mouths all the time. I see the media spitting propaganda. I see them getting pissed off when things don't go their way, and burning down buildings and destroying black-owned businesses in the name of black justice, and nothing ever getting done. And then I see the people in the middle just chipping away and getting victory after victory. But yeah, he was saying right here, Manchin was talking about how he supports codifying Roe versus Wade, but argued that Democratic's proposal goes too far. Biden then attacked all the Republicans, but didn't say anything about Manchin. You know why? Because he's a pussy and he needs Manchin's vote. He needs to convince him, please let me spend trillions of dollars in an inflationary economy. God. Pre-K too. He's also against pre-K, which is just a farce, because all the studies say that it doesn't really add up to anything. And it could cause harm by burning kids out. Speaking of causing harm, one of the problems a lot of these politicians have is that they're seduced by the money that comes in from lobbyists, campaign donations, things like that, right? So California environmentalists moved to kill massive reservoir project as state faces record drought. You see, they're only concerned with what? I don't really understand. I don't get it. Environmentalists are the reason we don't have nuclear power plants here in California. So we can't make clean energy that way. We can't desalinate the ocean because of environmentalists. And now we can't build a reservoir. It's time to stop listening to these fucking environmental lawyers. Environmental lawyers. Environmental lobbyists. We need to do things. Sometimes, like they say, you have to break an egg to make an omelet, right? Well, they don't want us to break any eggs. But how are we going to solve the problem? And this is one of the reasons why I'm very much against environmentalists, even though I'm pro-environment. What does that even mean? But, one of the reasons is because they take it to the extreme. They're blocking everything that needs to be done. Okay? Nuclear to make electricity, desalination to make water, and reservoirs to hold said water. They're against all that. Nope, you can't do it. We're going to put a lot of pressure on you, so you can't do it. Oh, well, then what's your solution? If your answer is, then that's the wrong answer. We're going to stop all that. Yeah, this one came out of MIT and Stanford, and they were talking about the nuclear power plant in Diablo Canyon that Newsom's going to keep running. Of course, the environmentalists are against it, but they bring up a very interesting point. That nuclear reactor can power the desalination. So a nuclear reactor can produce electricity and water. I don't think. Now, I think the Democrats here in California would say we need more inclusion and diversity, when in reality we need more electricity and water. Okay? Let's concentrate on this one. All right? Diversity and inclusion. It's already progressing down that path and nobody's trying to stop it. But we need electricity and water. Yeah, I'm not going to go through all this, but here's another kind of a little victory for me. Reuters here reporting. In a blow to Biden climate goals, Entergy shuts down nuclear power plant. Integrity. Remember that? The weed from South Park. Integrity. But people are starting to realize this. The green answer is nuclear power. They've realized that in places like Europe, like France, nuclear power is the way to be green. Okay? Skipping. The Biden administration, as I said, is very arrogant. They rule like a dictatorship. They don't think. They just do what they're going to do. And they think they can cover up the consequences. But, this article here about the Biden administration refuses to recognize long-term effects of puberty blockers. This is not me doing anything in hate. I would never write the article to include God-given biological sex. No, that's fine. If people feel that way, they do need help. They do need our support. But when you see that puberty-blocking drugs do have some serious consequences, and sadly, the hormone injections and surgeries to remove healthy organs do nothing to solve gender confusion. In fact, there's actually evidence that it worsens the patient's mental condition because all of a sudden they're the sex that they've identified as, but it doesn't change the voices in their heads. I don't want to go like this. At least let me clean my room. A little 21 Pilots there. Yep. All right. Let's see here. We're going to move on. Hackers are targeting EV stations. The reason that one's kind of interesting is they could actually hold fleets hostage. Think about a delivery company, and just before Christmas, your entire fleet is shut down. Yeah, because they could hack into the EV, through the EV into your account, and from your account, they could actually get your vehicles. Woof. Wow. I'm pretty sure nobody can hack into my gas pump. It's just a credit card. Put it in for work. Boom, get our gas. Okay? These people, these hackers, can actually target a company's EV charging stations and shut them down and blackmail people into paying ransom. And they could do it to you. They're already hacking the cars. Now they're hacking the charging stations. Dude, criminals will always be one step ahead. It will be. That's just the way it is. That's the nature of being a criminal. I'm going to skip that. We're going to save that one because this is, more EV stuff. Wanted to get to this. The San Francisco DA Bodine, he denied reports that he didn't secure any fentanyl convictions in 2021. And when he brought his proof forward, is a big nothing burger. He didn't get any convictions for selling fentanyl. I mean, okay, just to put this in perspective, okay? Somewhere in the neighborhood of 16,000 people are killed by guns every year, okay? Some of those are completely legitimate shootings. And I've removed suicides from the equation because you can just jump off a building. Big deal. So anyhow, drugs, particularly street opiates, killed 100,000 people last year. So we're going to worry about the guns, but not the drugs. And then you look at a place that has an open-air drug market, and there's no convictions. The DA is enabling drug dealers to sell deadly drugs to our children, and Newsom does nothing about it. In fact, Newsom ended mandatory minimum drug sentencing for nonviolent drug offenders. How is selling fentanyl not violent? It could kill someone. Huh? This one was great from the Washington Examiner. San Francisco paper complains that people want criminals put in jail. The paper's editorial board and they never announced. I didn't read what paper it was. It was kind of weird that way. But they were talking about the Bodine recall tends to be light on facts but heavy on anecdote, emotion, and accusations that usually prove untrue. They claim that Bodine is a scapegoat for other city officials and police officers for not arresting people. Bodine said he wouldn't prosecute quality of life. So how are they supposed to clean up the city? The paper claims that Bodine's critics clearly don't like him, but they don't seem to have a solution other than more jail. Really, putting repeat criminals behind bars. Imagine that. We say Bodine or we say Gascon or any of these other Soros-backed liberal DAs need to go. And then they say, well, what's your plan? Lock them up, get them help, force them to get help. There's some solutions. What's your solution? Do nothing? Yeah, okay. Audit finds half of... This was an interesting one. Half of Biden's followers are fake. 70% of Musk are fake. That whole thing. But we need that platform. I think Twitter is already well established, and it needs to be this nation, the world's message board. It needs to be. We need to be able to communicate our thoughts. We need to be able to propose these things. I don't really like all the lying. I don't like that. I don't like the physical violence. Don't need that. I don't need women being threatened with sexual harm just because somebody doesn't agree with them. So, but the first step is we need to have a fair and balanced policies in place on Twitter. So I hope Musk continues that. Speaking of Musk, Elon's world. Yeah. Some Elmo action up in here, eh? Yeah, and it has been an absolute shit show. What's happening here? So Elon said, this was back May 18th, I guess here, using an iPhone. That's disappointing. In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindest party. But they have become the party of division and hate, so I no longer support them and will vote Republican. Now watch their dirty tricks campaign unfold. Yeah, see, there he is. He scared the woke dragon. Yeah. He also said the real president is whoever controls the teleprompter. Democrats controlled by lawyers and unions. Yep, who are only looking out for their own good. Elon Musk said in an interview, in Texas, it took 18 months to build a gigafactory. In California, we'd still be working on the permits. Yeah? Yeah, because the Democrats in California have figured out how to use safety regulations to fill their coffers. Yeah. So did the attacks begin? Of course. Look at it. I mean, bring it up right here. Clay Travis. See, Elon Musk has been a public figure for 25 years now, and it took him being a Republican for one day for the media outlet to publish a hearsay witness saying he offered her a horse for an erotic massage. And quite frankly, I don't believe the story because, I mean, if I was offered a horse to give Elon Musk an erotic massage, I guess I'd be giving a good dude an erotic massage because I'd want the horse. What girl wouldn't want a pony? Come on, folks. It took Elon Musk barely 24 hours of becoming a Republican for him to be Me Too'd. Lauren, you're kind of crazy, but sometimes you just hit it right on the head, don't you? And yeah, as he's pointing out, Elon himself points out that the attacks against him should be viewed through a political lens. This is their standard despicable playbook. Yeah, it is. Yeah. He's defending himself. In 30 years, including the Me Too era, there's nothing to report, but as soon as I say I intend to restore free speech to Twitter and vote Republican, suddenly there is. It's a political attack. It was a left-wing activist actress from L.A., aren't they all, who was talking about a friend who supposedly, was, asked to give a full-body massage. When she went in the room, he was completely naked. And then he said, I'll give you a horse. I'll give you a horse. Yeah, okie-dokie. I'll give you a horse if you pause me. That's a callback, folks. Elon Musk calls out the attacker. Basically says, hey, describe my Johnson. I mean, dude's really, he's on top of it. Now, did he pay this chick maybe to just make the story go away? Maybe. But that doesn't mean the story was true. He just wanted it to go away. Moving into the best of the week. But Trump. I used this one several times. This is all these people have left. That's all they have left. Oh, but what about Trump? But Trump did this. What about Ivanka? How did Ivanka get that money? Because they have no argument against their own nonsense. They can't back it up. Hey, moving into the best here. Thomas Sowell. One of the bittersweet things about growing old is realizing how mistaken you were when you were young. As a young political leftist, I saw the left as the voice of the common man. Nothing could be farther from the truth. Yeah. That's what I woke up to. That Democrats are more than willing to bankrupt the state or the nation in the attempt to achieve an unachievable goal. That's the way I see it. And, just like we see here in California with the environmentalists, they want to protect the butterfly and make us all die of thirst. I don't get it. They want green energy, but not nuclear. Okay. But the reality is that's what it's going to take. Jake Shields, former fighter. When Joe Biden said he would destroy the Russian economy, what he actually meant was he would destroy the American economy. Soaring oil and gas prices helped Russia more than triple its current account surplus to $96 billion, the largest in 28 years. Yay, Joe. Here's Joe getting the trophy of worst president ever from Jimmy Carter. Yeah. I think they're pretty much up there. Jimmy Carter, I was young at the time, but I remember him making just an absolute dog's breakfast out of it. And Obama, yeah, he allowed credit card companies to double their minimum payment and basically force me into, my current financial situation. Thrift store rebrands as vintage to increase price 800%. Why do black social media trolls go batty when told that racism is no longer a major factor in America? Well, it requires them to face the awful truth that they must blame their failures on something else. Like themselves, maybe. Conservative primary voters excited to see which politician will betray them next. Yeah, savage true. Psaki handing over the torch of Biden disinformation to Jean-Pierre. Oh my goodness. Just stare at that for a moment. The leprechaun handing it off to the croissant. The croissant. Oh man. AOC Engage registers for $10,000 tax-rich toaster. I feel really bad for that dude. Oh man, wow. I guess she's good in bed. I will never love again, says forlorn Ben Shapiro after learning AOC engaged. Surprising study reveals half of Joe Biden's Twitter followers are real. Oh my God. We're just gonna Oh no, Congress approves $40 billion to Ukraine, but due to inflation, it's already worth only $30 billion. These are great. Here's my favorite of the week. The boomer meme of the century, really. I don't know why, but so you spoiled brats with your fancy Cheerios flavors. When we were kids, Cheerios had one flavor, and that flavor was paper. Waldorf and Stadler up there. Oh my God. Oh, that is just insane. Somebody trying to call me. What the hell? So anyhow. Just want to end with this. Not since the Civil War was the nation this divided. Then we had Lincoln, who was 100% focused on healing the divide. Now we have Biden's party is focused on furthering the divide. I don't really think anybody out there can argue with this. And this is a good example of how bit by bit, chip by chip, we could win this. We could win the overall war for purple, for the center, for common sense, and for America. Because this is true. Trump divided the nation. What the hell's Biden done? See, when you have two parties that want to please the extremes, how in the fuck are they going to unite us? We can only be united in the middle. All right? I'm going to do something that I've never done here, man. I'm just going to say it. Please, if you at all enjoy this or subscribe to this belief, please like and subscribe. turn on the notifications. It would really help me out. I just, I do this for the betterment of every American and for everybody around the world, because a better America is a better world. Copious out. Peace, y'all.